Hello, everybody, and welcome to Live on KEXP. I'm your host, Troy Nelson, from listener-powered, independent 90.3 FM, KEXP in Seattle, and 92.7 in San Francisco. And we are streaming 24/7 at kexp.org and our free mobile apps. And these live performances are made possible by people just like you, so thank you so much for supporting KEXP. Well, myself and all of us here at KEXP are extremely excited because we have been huge fans of this artist for many, many years. And so I want to welcome to the KEXP live room, Trentemøller. And if you're all ready, take it away.
find me. Oh, slow.
Fantastic. All right, here we are with Trentemøller, an artist who has seemingly done it all, yet continues to somehow do it all. He has released multiple full-length albums and multiple EPs and singles over the last 20-plus years, has won many awards, including 2 Danish Music Awards, and has been nominated for a Grammy, has done remixes for artists like M83, Tricky, David Lynch, Royksop, Robin, The Knife, the Pet Shop Boys, the list goes on. And we are more than happy to have Trentemøller here in the KEXP live room. And how are you all doing today?
We are so fine, and thank you for inviting us.
Yes,
it's a pleasure being back. I think it's 8 years since we last.
I was going to say, it's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's so nice glad you were back. How was the show last night?
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
It was our 5th show on the tour, and it's been great so far. Lots of people showing up, and it's just great to play this, especially these new songs from the Dreamweavers album. Play them live for people.
Awesome. Yeah, the Dreamweaver album we've been loving here at the station. Everything that you've done in the last 20-plus years, we've been absolutely loving. And I wanted to take you all the way back. I always love knowing about an artist's journey. And going back, you've been playing music since you were about 3 years old. And so it seems that music found you very early in life. And when I ask a lot of artists, what's the first album that you really got into? Usually the answer is not like the music that you play today. So I want to know what it was like when you were 9 years old and getting a Rod Stewart album that you got into.
Exactly. And that was only because of the cover. It was Rod Stewart in 20 different poses in red latex trousers, very tight. And it looked so cool, I think. So I just wanted that album. And that was not on vinyl, it was on cassette. I remember that I got it for my birthday. And I listened to that album for many, many times.
Yeah, and because the cover looked cool.
Exactly, that was only because of the cover. And
then sparked your imagination.
And then one of the songs that were played in the radio, and my parents didn't really listen that much to music, so it was just the radio always spinning, and that Rod Stewart song caught my mind somehow.
Yeah. And then you get a little bit older, and as we do, music starts to speak to us a little differently. And when you were about 12 years old, on the radio, you heard Venus in Furs by the Velvet Underground. What did that do to your imagination?
Yeah, I think that was one of the first times that I realized that music could really sound mysterious and hypnotizing in a way, because normally it was local, not local, but Danish pop bands and Beatles and Stones and stuff like that playing. And then suddenly hearing that song with the violin and this drone thing going on, I felt it was super scary, to be honest, but I was really drawn into the sound. So I can remember that I went to the local library because you could rent stuff there, and I found this famous, again, there was cassette tapes, the Velvet Underground cover with the banana, and again, that was a cool cover.
Yeah.
So I just really listened to that song for many hours, actually. And I still remember that it gave me goosebumps hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, very hypnotic. And like you said, kind of scary, but
kind
pulls you in.
Yeah, it really felt dangerous compared to all the other more pop mainstream stuff that we're playing in the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you played in some rock bands for a while, and then eventually became a DJ until you realized that you didn't really want to keep playing other people's music anymore. And so you got into keyboards and synthesizers. And in 2006, you release an album that myself and many call an absolute masterpiece. And I'm talking about the album The Last Resort, which has also one of the greatest opening tracks of all time with the song Take Me Into Your Skin. It's absolutely wonderful. And I want to know what it was like to go from playing in bands and being a DJ to actually put something out into the world that was completely yours.
Yeah, that was something that I really wanted to do for quite a long time, because as you also said, I started releasing more club-oriented stuff, and I quickly felt that I was trapped in that DJ thing, because mostly I was actually not playing other people's music. I played my own edits and stuff and bootlegs I've done of other people. So when I got the chance to release my own album on a German label, I was super, super excited, but I didn't really think that it would hit anyone, It was just me sitting in my bedroom, actually. It was, so-called bedroom producer.
Right.
But then it really kicked off, and suddenly I got messages on MySpace, that was back then, from all over the world, and Greenland to Mexico. People listened to the music, and that was really fantastic to see that these songs that I have been writing, some of the songs, Miss You, that was actually written 5 years earlier. So some, and also Take Me to Your Skin was a very old song. So it was great to have those compiled in one album.
In one package.
Yeah.
That's how we were all introduced to you. I remember, I've been here for 20 years now, and I remember in 2006, it was only my first or second year working here, and all the DJs were talking about it. It was just such a wonderful introduction to your music. And there's so much that goes into your songs and the recording process to do what you do, and you're surrounded always by all this gear and technology, and it blows my mind how you piece this all together, because it would take me like 5 years to do what you do in one song. And so you have all this gear. You may use the Hohner's String Melody 2, and then you might use the kick drum sound from the Volca beats, but you might not like the snare from the Volca beats, so you'll find a snare from somewhere else, and then use the JHS Colorbox V2 for EQing soft synths and hardware synths. Does it take a lot of patience to create what you create, or do you love doing it so much that patience isn't even an issue? You don't think about patience, you just love the process.
You have really done your research greatly, but it's more about just playing around. And actually, to be honest, sometimes I'm a little bit scared of all the gear, because it can really confuse you in a way. So I always try to actually, when I'm writing songs, sitting in front of my upright piano, or not writing the songs in my studio, maybe in my basement, in my house, because I like to focus on the chord progressions and the melodies and the fundamental vibe of the song. And then it's just later that I move into the studio, and I somehow see it as dressing up a doll or something. You can really put different clothes on a song, and it can go so many directions. So sometimes it's also about kill your darlings and know how to focus on what's the reason why you did this song in the first place, and not overproduce it, because you can easily do that. And that was something that I learned from a lot of mistakes sometimes, to sit too long with a song and missing the first energy and the first impression that you had when you wrote the first chords or something like that.
And speaking of gear, I read somewhere that a piece of gear that you actually regret letting go was the Thermionic Culture Vulture. Did you ever get one back?
Actually, I don't regret that I sold that, because it has too many knobs. And to be honest, I'm really bad at reading manuals. So for me, it's the more simple the better, because I want to use my time on the creative process, not knocking too much around with knobs. So I never read manuals, and that was, for me, that was too,
I don't like manuals either. Do you ever reference YouTube sometimes, like how to use something?
Yes, but I'm a totally nerd still, so I really love to see Mix with the Masters. That's some videos from well-known mixers and producers, and to see their tricks and how they work. But it's more like a total inspiration. It's not something that I feel like schoolwork or anything.
And you've done a lot of instrumental music, but you've added more vocals in recent years. And I would love for you to introduce the vocalist that you have with us today. A wonderful voice.
Yeah, Disa.
Disa.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. It just adds yet another texture to all the layers that you have going on.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, we started working together on the last tour, and then it just felt really right to do, because Disa was singing the songs live. We talked about it could be great to expand that experience in a way. So it's only one vocalist on the whole album, compared to sometimes I had 4 or 5 different features, and that can make it a little bit hard to get that natural flow, and as a listener, it's also hard to identify with the songs. Maybe I don't know, but that was my thought. So we talked about let's do an album together, and now we're here.
Love it. Love it. Well, once again, we have been loving all of your music for these past couple of decades plus, and the latest album, Dreamweaver, yet just another classic. So thank you once again so much for taking the time to do this here at KEXP. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You've been listening to Trentemøller here on KEXP.